Can you hear me now? Okay, we should be good now. Can you hear me? Sorry, I'm just checking. Can you hear me now? Okay, we're good. All right, we're good. We're good. We're good. Sorry about the echo thing going on in here. It's a room. I'm actually in Canada. For some of you guys know, look, I got bit by vampires. It's on this side. Everything's like opposite in the camera. But yeah, look. Hmm. Those, I don't know what the hell. My coat sometimes rubs there and sometimes rubs there. Is that right? Okay. My coat sometimes rubs there, and well, there you go. Now you guys gotta look at my vampire bite all for another hour. So you can hear me off and on. That's not good. Oh, we can hear now. Okay, good. All right. So hopefully, yeah. Okay. Anyways, I'm in Canada. If some of you guys don't know already, through my other uh, Facebook Power Hour things, and I've been here for a while. Going through just being here with my wife through support with her. She's going through a hard time. She just recently lost her father, and so we've been up here. She's been up here since August, I believe, and me and the kiddos have been up here, up and down so far. But I've been here since January 7th or 8th or something like that. But yeah, and yeah, so I've been in Canada for a while just to have some support for my wife and her family, and yeah, and but anyways, wahe panita na nisa was not get Kasey Nicholson has sihina ninana o ni again I always say noani or ni isin. Today is a good day, or it's a good day. I am of the White Clay people in Fort Belknap Indian Community in Montana. That's where my mom is from. My dad is Blackfeet, and between those two tribes, I am several others from Salaga, Crow, to Puka, or to Arapaho, Cree, Alaska Native, a bunch of other stuff. So that's where I am. Just really quick background, especially for people that have not met me before. Hello, Eileen. What's up? For a quick background of people who don't know who I am or just new to this, I'm an only child raised by a single mother. I have a bunch of brothers and sisters on my dad's side, but I'm the only child from my mom. Grew up all over the U.S. Got my master's in mental health and rehab counseling, and I got my BS, Bachelor of Science, not my other degree, in health and human development. Yeah, and that's kind of slowly but surely. I've been on with Native Wellness for some odd years, 3-4 years ish. I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun. So I haven't really kept track. I would have to look back at my documents and stuff like that. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to show you and tell you guys, or illustrate, or bring about an awareness from the things that we all talk about as facilitators of Native Wellness Institute. So I want to thank you guys all coming in and tuning in the Power Hour. My name is Kasey Nicholson. That's my white name. My Indian name is Wasnakek. That means white bear. But yeah, and so thank you guys so much. Let's get started right now. Okay, so yeah, hey, hello everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys can share this, like this, do whatever you can. You're going to always be able to go on YouTube. If you do and you cannot stay through the whole presentation, you can always come back to the Facebook Native Wellness Institute Facebook page and watch the rest of the presentation, or any other presentation that I myself or any other facilitators have brought to you, or any special guests have brought to you as well. You can also go to YouTube as well and check out those presentations on there as well. It's all about sharing and getting rid of the lateral oppression, lateral violence, and just sharing the wealth of knowledge. Everything that I'm going to share with you today, or that from my personal experiences, have all been from my personal experiences, but also from my elders, from my teachings, from people who know more than I do in terms of knowledge and education, from a stranger on the street that has taught me something. I'm all regurgitating it back to you guys, so that you guys are able to maybe think differently about it, and maybe just to raise your awareness about some of the things that we talk about. First and foremost, again, I always want to say that I don't claim to know anything or be anybody. I am not better than anybody. I am ignorant in this life. I am always a student of life. I'm always learning, and my mind is always open to learning about new concepts, new ideas, new experiences. So please interact with me on this side. And if you have something to share, I will read it and I will share your comments with the viewers as well. Because some of you guys might be able to be experiencing something that I might talk about that you can relate to, that somebody else can relate to, and maybe you guys could connect some way, somehow, and share and heal together. A lot of people that I find out nowadays, especially through this pandemic, a lot of us are speaking in and out of a place of trauma, and probably in all my power hours, I always say heal people, healing people, heal people, and hurt people. And so we have to keep that in mind as we kind of go through our relationships in life, whether it be a stranger on the street or to our mom. You know, we always have to keep that in mind and not take what is theirs and bring it upon our own, because we ourselves have enough issues already, or not issues, but challenges, or you could be issues too, that we have to deal with and kind of heal from as well. So today's topic is called Learned Helplessness. Why don't you grab my hand? Why don't you grab my hand? Okay? And the reason why I titled it that way, especially with Learned Helplessness, is I've come to find out, especially through all my presentations and talks and going around Indian country, and just not even in Indian country, just around. It's just not about Indian country. It's about just the human being in that is kind of sorry, I'm just stuttering. That is hurt, that has anxiety, that has depression, that is in a place of helplessness, and I see a lot of our people doing this. And when Jillian asked me, what do I want to speak on this week, I was really thinking about the things that a lot of our people are going through, especially now, especially in our pandemic. It's tough. It's hard, and a lot of us are speaking out of a place of trauma, and not in a place of healing. A lot of people are not taking this situation or this challenge as a moment or moments to strengthen themselves, more or less. They're really taking it to places, poor me, woe is me. I can't do anything. I can't go anywhere. There's nothing to do. There's just depression, anxiety going on in our world, amongst our people and amongst the people that are staying home. And I was thinking hard about that. I'm like, man, inadvertently, or just by not knowing, we are all kind of learning that helplessness. We're learning how to be helpless, and it sucks. It really sucks to hear this. And oh man, I think I gave a talk to another Zoom place, and they were wanting some uplifting message. They wanted an uplifting message about how to get through the pandemic, or how to get kind of uplifted through this trying time in life. And I really sat back, because this Zoom, or this thing that I was going to give to this talk I was going to give to, was my own people, the people from my reservation in Fort Belknap. And I was really thinking, like, how do I uplift somebody that's having a hard time in life today? Is that my responsibility? Is that something that I place upon myself? Can I do that? Do I have the power to do that? And I'm sitting here, and I was sitting there thinking, and I pushed record on the video thing, and I was about to talk about this inspiring, motivational thing that I can do. But I sat there, and I didn't start right away. I didn't really go into it right away. I didn't start spitting anything, but I sat there, and I was just in a moment of just like, yeah, gratitude, or, experience, or just the situation or the topic at hand is heavy. And what am I going to say to help those people on the other side that's watching the video understand or bring understand how I would bring them hope or motivation. Because I can say something until I'm blue in the face. And I always say this in all my talks. I can tell you you're beautiful until I'm blue in the face, right? I can tell you you're awesome, you're great, you're smart till I'm blue in the face. But it doesn't really happen, that connection or that moment doesn't happen unless you believe that. Like I could tell you over and over. I could look at you and I could tell you and I could hold your hand, I could hug you, I could write you letters, I can just every day I can just do it. But it's not going to happen. The connection is not going to happen for you to start feeling that way that I tell you that you truly are unless you believe it, right? And that you put in the work to get to that point of believing, right? You can't just believe. I know a lot of people just can't believe. Like they just it's hard just to believe sometimes when your confidence, your self-esteem, your self-confidence or your understanding of everything is just down and out, and it's hard just to believe. Like just believe it, don't worry about just people come by and just believe it, that's all you have. No, it's not that easy, right? You just can't believe something if the work hasn't been put in to start believing, if that makes sense. You have to put in the work to start believing, to actually believe, I guess you'd say. Like you want to jump, you have to put in the work to get your muscles ready and the mechanics ready to actually jump. So you can jump. I can tell you that you can jump. But we have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G to get to the point of actually believing that you can actually have that self-confidence to actually jump and carry out the action. And that's hard. Just get over it is another thing, right? Why are you crying? Why? It's not that hard, you know. I find myself sometimes in that moment or in that thing because some of us lack that patience to understand the other person's situation. Just because we could do it or just because we know how to do it or the steps to get to where we need to go to do it doesn't mean that they know how, and we shouldn't be pushing them to do it right away. We should be asking them all the steps, like, have you tried this? Or what is the block in terms of doing these certain things and believing and stuff? So as I was sitting there and I was about to talk, I really came down to not the conclusion, but the idea that we weren't ready. A lot of our people were not ready for this pandemic. A lot of our people were in that place of learned helplessness, especially when it came through the pandemic came. And I'm not saying that to be mean or ignorant or hurtful, but I often wonder, through all the things that our people face, whether you be, it doesn't matter, whatever you face, what work did you put in to face the pandemic in terms of, are you taking your vitamins? Are you exercising? Are you not smoking? Are you praying? Are you meditating? Are you ready for challenges like this pandemic that have come? Now, I'm not saying I've heard the whole stories of, of a healthy person passing away, then I've heard an old person staying alive. Like there's those extremes on this bell curve, right? But as a people, how many of us have we got our traditional medicines that I know? I've heard countless stories of our traditional medicines getting many people through the Rona or the COVID virus. And I've heard people going back to their teachings, their traditional teachings of praying and medicines and all these things to get them through these depressing times or these anxious times. But then I also heard more so than not about people scared and worried and which is totally understandable. But back to the jumping point. Did you believe in yourself enough? Did you create enough medicine in yourself or in your family to know that you would be okay and there might be a freak of nature that might freaky thing. I don't know how to say it. Freaky thing that might happen, but the majority of your household or yourself would be okay. Do you take all your medicines? Are you up on your vitamin D, C, zinc? You know, are you on your quercetin? Are you eating your fruits and vegetables? Are you drinking enough water? Are you exercising to make sure your lungs are healthy? Like, are you doing all these things? And in my mind, or in the mental capacity of it, okay, and here's the checklist that I was really thinking before I was speaking about it, and I was thinking, our people weren't ready. They've learned, a lot of us, and myself included, have learned the art of helplessness. We've learned that. And I often come back and ask why, because we are such a strong people. We've went through so many things in our life, you know, trials and tribulations, you know, genocide, you know, taking away of our culture, and we're still here. But I think through all that stuff, when these little things of these pandemics or these illnesses or sicknesses or, you know, things that come up, I often think, did we do enough individually to combat as much as we could to combat that? Or are we just saying we can't do anything about it? It's just going to come anyways. It's in our genetics. Believing what the news media says, the fear mongering, the fearing of on news and media outlets. Do we do that? Okay, so that's just an example of how I was about to say something, and it started making me think about how a lot of our people, myself included, have learned this helplessness. Like back in the day, I used to have that mentality, right? I used to always have anxiety or think that, you know, because something wasn't working enough times or because I kept, you know, failing, that nothing was going to work. My decision-making skills just went down the drain. No matter what's going to happen, it's just going to be negative. It's just going to be, I can't do anything about it. Weight loss. When I get to my goal weight, here's an example. When I get to my goal weight, then I'll post it. But through the years, I've learned, I've been battling to get to my goal weight. Not really, my goal weight, you know, I don't think I'm ever going to be like the 185, 180 pound range again, just because I'm just so swollen now. Joking. But just to feel good. I know around that 200 pound mark, I feel really, really good. I physically and just body image wise, I just feel good. Like, yes, I don't have to be ripped. I don't have to be like sculpted, but I'm going to feel better. I know that. But through these years, I don't know, I think I've been tracking my weight since 2016, off and on through my phone. You know, I just, you know, every time I weigh myself, I'll go in there and I'll do it every month or every 2 months, 3 months, whatever. I'll just do a weight just to see where I'm at, you know. And it fluctuates, but it's never at my goal weight, and that's crazy. But I could learn how to be helpless by saying it's never going to change. No matter what I'm doing, it's never going to change. And I've done several things. The only thing I haven't done consistently is eating better consistently and being committed to my exercise regimen. Like I'm like fluctuating. I'll go 2 months and I'll just be kicking butt, and then I'll kind of on a decline, and that's where I'll start gaining weight, and I'll weigh myself, and then I'll do a month or whatever, or 2 weeks, and then I'll do it again, you know. And it's just this yo-yo thing, and it's not like I'm going up and down. It's in this little range. Like go down to this range, and I come back up to this range, like a 210, 212 to like 220. You know, I'm always just right in there. So there's something there that's not allowing me to get past that. Is it emotional? Is it physical? What's going on? You know, and I know I could lose weight, but I don't give up. I know I have the self-confidence, self-esteem to get past whatever's going on, but I need to work on that. And that's different from learned helplessness. I'm not saying I'm giving up and there's nothing else I can do. No matter what I eat, no matter what I do, no matter how much exercise, I'm just a failure. I just can't do it. those are learned helplessness. No matter what, it's in my genetics, just the way our people are built. I'll never be able to lose weight. Okay, that's an example of, because of my past, I'm associating it with my present in terms of me not being able to excel or become better or to get to my goal, whatever it may be. I'm gonna come back here before I get further into it, and I'm gonna learn about. I want to see what you guys have been writing. Okay, thank you, Benita Moore. Thank you for you can hear me now. Hello, Eileen. Hello, Julie, Benita. Oh, sorry, I already said that. Stefan from New York. Cool. Benita said, yes, it's all about healing and assisting us all towards visibility as Indigenous people. Very much so. And then passing that knowledge or those different types of views of thinking to our people, to have conversations about it, right? To think about it and then conversate about it, and to kind of bounce ideas off each other, whether they're right or not right or wrong, or whatever your opinions are about it. Bobby Bush, Jessica, hello. Nina Renshaw, recognizing you, good soul from Western Massachusetts. Oh, the East Coast. Julie Birdstone, Margaret. Oh, that's a tag. Sorry, Rosemary. Hi, Cassandra. I learned that we need. This is what Lucinda said. I just learned that we need to anticipate a phenomenon of grief to come due to the pandemic, due to loss of livelihoods, relatives, ceremony, and even property security. That's interesting. Benita says again, as a human being, you do have the power to lead towards healing in all you say and do. Hal Masunka from Native Daily Network, we are currently developing program outreaches to lead to the paths of healing. Awesome. Cindy, yes, your confidence comes the more work you do. Very much so. And if you don't know how to do it, you got to put in the work to learn how to do it, right? Okay. Pendleton, Oregon. Hello, Sandy. Sandy Dave, where are our herbs that are the answer to disease? And that's another thing, right? Like there's so many like herbs and medicines, like in nature, in Mother Earth, that mimic or do the same thing, if not more powerful, than all the pharmaceutical drugs out there. Here's a good one. Berberine. I think it's berberine or something. Studies have shown, there's got to be more studies about it, obviously funding and money and all that stuff, is actually shown to do just as good or better than metformin in terms of controlling diabetes, or some people actually take it to live healthier, or not healthier, but to look younger, or to slow the aging process down, which is interesting. But berberine is a natural substance in Mother Earth, and then you have metformin is a drug that's obviously pharmaceutically enhanced, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, so that's a good example. Sandy. Stephen Bartlett, freedom from vacillating, just between behavior and emotions of being either a victim or survivor was key to overcoming trauma. I needed to feel my being out more. First steps were showing up for life each day and reaching out. Very cool, Stefan. Get to know the plants. This is what Nina's saying, Renshaw. Get to know the plants medicine in the area you live. Because our people, if our people have originated there or kind of in that area, our people have been taking it for years and years. So our bodies are ready to intake, this is around what I understand, to intake that type of medicine more freely or just more openly, rather than finding it as invasive, because if our bodies don't recognize what we're putting into our body, it creates an inflammatory response where we get inflamed, or maybe hives or gut issues or whatever, maybe something happens. And so like local honey is another one. Like if you, I don't know, but that stuff, like you're just more tuned in to the area around you, especially if your people are from there and been there for years and years. Your body's ready to accept those, because our ancestors have taken those throughout the years to help themselves get through a lot of work and too. So You share the same land, the same elements and energy. There's, yeah, well, pretty much I didn't have to go on to my spiel. Nina just said it. Benita, again, right? Constantly bouncing ideas back and forth, yes. Lucy, hello from Hasla? Sorry, I'm so sorry. Nation, BC, there are a lot of things that we have to unlearn. Exactly. And then we have to learn how to unlearn, right? Isn't that like one of the big things is we have to learn how to unlearn. That's weird. And then to learn again. Like, woo, but we can do it. But just like the plant stuff, like we don't want to put in the work to go dig for the plants. We don't sometimes want to, because I don't want to do it because it's not going to work anyways. I don't want to do it because of some type of excuse or reasoning. The trauma associated with it, the hard work associated with it, the energy associated with it, because one thing didn't work at that particular time, I'm not going to do it any other times. Okay, could be a reason too as well, right? Tanse from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. When people say Tanse from our Cree relatives, I always say Menudo. That's just a joke because I know you say Monento, but I just say Menudo, and they look at me like, oh, Nagitsa, like what are you talking about? Cool. So those are my comments. Cool. So I wanted to share something with you as well. Out of the American APA, learned. Let's give you an example of the APA, American Psychological Association definition. Learned helplessness occurs when someone repeatedly faces uncontrollable, stressful situations, then does not exercise control when it becomes available. Let me read that again. Out of the APA, American Psychological Association definition, kind of, summary-ish. Learned helplessness occurs when someone repeatedly faces uncontrollable, stressful situation that then does not exercise control when it becomes available. Okay? So that's my example of, I'm reaching out to you. Why don't you grab my hand? I'm doing it over and over. I am telling you you're beautiful. I am here to help you. My hand is out and extended. Please grab my hand. And so many of our people, no, I can't. If I do, then I'm vulnerable, or I have to put in this work, or I don't feel like I can. I don't feel like I have the strength to. I'm so depressed or so disconnected that I don't see your hand, And a lot of people, you're really extending. Come on, just grab my hand. You're crying. You're pleading with them. And you're extending yourself to say, come on, you can do it. Grab my hand. And you don't. Or they don't. And then you go back and you pull back like, why? Why this? Why that? And there's just an array of hurt and trauma and anxiety and depression and confusion and misunderstanding and blame and shame, and we can name all of them if we had to. And that could be the reason why they've learned this helplessness. Like, my decision-making skills are off. I cannot even just reach up to grab your hand. Like, it's, And sometimes as a speaker, I can hear stories of that within, whether it be in the groups or the audience that we're talking to. And it's just like, I melt inside because I know they can do it. I know they have the support. I see the communities that we work in, and it's such a strong community and support, and a lot of them are willing to work towards it. But then you have those odd ones in that group that just have that helpless, and they've learned how to be helpless. And I just want to sit them aside and talk to them and figure out maybe what we can do to get them to grab that hand, essentially, right? It sucks. It really, really sucks. I don't know. I don't want to go too far into that right now. I'm gonna read some of your guys' things again. Marcel Whitney says, "Oh, hello April, hello Kelly, hello St. George's Smith, Annie Robert." Holy, that's a long name, but hello. Hello Zona. Marcel Whitney says pharmaceuticals are man-made. Herbs and medicine are gifts given us to the Mother Earth, synthetic versus natural remedies. Exactly. And I've heard we can work with both of them if we have to. I know there's a lot of new technology that does keep a lot of our people alive, and I'm not totally against it, but there's a lot of those things that are really, we can do things to keep off being dependent on pharmaceutical stuff. But again, that's that learned helplessness, right? Again, okay, if I don't take this, and the doctor has shocked me, literally shocked traumatized me by saying, if you don't, the A, B, C, and D will happen. But then we have our elders or our herbalists or whatever saying, herbologists, I don't know how you say it, but saying, but you can wean off this pharmaceutical pill if you do A, B, C, and D with these certain herbs as well. But the doctor said, if I don't take these, then A, B, C, and D will happen, and I'm scared that will happen. And again, you learned how to be helpless because of this trauma that you have encountered or you believed or you have accepted as is, rather than learning to get off the pills. We've learned to take the pills. Instead of going to get help, we've learned to live within trauma. What is it called? I had a brain fart, sorry. I enjoy listening. Have a blessed day. Okay, Soul. Thank you. Zona, yeah, you're welcome, Zona. Nina says, sometimes life has been so hard for some people that they have reached out to the wrong sources and beat down again, and it makes it harder to reach out again. So true, right? Like, they've done it numerous times, and each time it's almost like, okay, well, nothing's working, and I've been traumatized several times. I'm not going to try again. And the way I'm living is okay. And I really live okay rather than be great, but be okay with being okay rather than being less than okay, if that makes sense. Prevention is better than cure. Exactly. I believe so as well. That's why I'm trying. So Thosh is really good an advocate, especially with the diet stuff. Then, you have Theta and all the other speakers that we all kind of touch on different things within this balance wheel, this balance model. Some people really touch really a lot into the spirituality part. Some people touch into that mental, emotional part. Some people touch in that social aspect part. Some people touch into the physical part. And those all play a hand, especially when you're trying to overcome this learned helplessness that a lot of our people go through. There's three key features that I really want you guys to understand. Is with learned helplessness, you become passive in the face of trauma. A lot of our people do become passive in the face of trauma, and again, that could be the fear thing, or like a lot of people with fear, you either fight, flight, or freeze, and some people might freeze, or they might flee, or they might fly, whatever. And you just get really passive in trauma. You just don't know what to do. You're just like, whoa, like, okay, next, okay, I can deal with it, but I don't really want to deal with it, kind of thing. Because difficult learning that responses can control trauma. Difficulty learning that responses can control trauma. How come I can't say that word? Difficulty learning that responses can control trauma. So that's another key feature. And number 3 is can increase stress levels. Okay, so learned helplessness it affects so many things in our lives, in our lives, and it's scary because how do I unlearn this learned helplessness? How do I become aware of it? And I think tuning into like some of these power hours or just going on the internet and researching yourself, that's another thing that really gets me. Okay, is so many of our people, and when I say our people, it could be from indigenous to just being human beings, but so many of them, because I talk to so many. I talk to white, black, Mexican, natives. It doesn't matter. I just talk to everyone, and I hear countless stories that are kind of meeting in the same thing, and they're like, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, I looked up this, I looked up that, I've asked questions, and I'm like, but have you researched it? Like, I'm no plumber, I am no landscaper. But if I wanted to learn something, especially with today's technology, I type it up on YouTube and I learn about some TED Talks, how to do it yourself. I research through articles and I read stuff. I trial and error with myself. Like, will this work or not? Yeah, I might have to backtrack, but what if it works? Let's try it out, you know. Um, when people say they don't know how to do something, it just blows my mind because they can get an idea of how to do something or how certain things work by just looking. Because so many of us have the technology at our fingertips. Don't learn to be helpless when you have it right here. YouTube it. Learn how to build a deck. Learn how to install wood floors. I don't know. There's so many things you can do and learn, you know, but so many people are maybe afraid of that. Again, trauma, afraid of failure, afraid of not working, not turning out right, not turning out the way they envision it to be, not accepting the reality of it. You know, it's just some of us learn to be okay with just being okay, and it's crazy. And I'm just like, what? How come you like everything I've learned how to plumb? I even learned how to. I've saved us hundreds, thousands of dollars on learning how to do my own plumbing, my own landscaping. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Here it is. Connects us back to urge during trauma couple creates learned helplessness. Okay, so Benita Moore said intergenerational trauma coupled with today's challenges creates learned helplessness. We would have discussed further about that, okay? Because, okay, I don't know how to help someone out of it. My son has been addicted to opiates for so long and has tried many rehabs. He is hung papa from Standing Rock, but living out of here in the Puyallup Nation territory. Okay. And that's something that I think a lot of people go through in terms, how do I get our loved ones out of this funk, you know? And we've learned how to do certain things in life and be okay with the situation as long as they're alive. And we become, our loved one is having a hard time with addiction. And so they've created maybe some type of learned helplessness. Then we ourselves have been burned by our loved one who's addicted and been traumatized. We ourselves create learned helplessness in ourselves as well, right? So it's the cycle of it. And that's where I think team management or, you know, collaboration with other people, family members, spiritual advisors, friends, you know, networking, reaching out, researching, writing, you know, positive notes to the self. There's meditating, praying. It could be, honestly, all this stuff could be. It's such an onion layer effect. Like, so many of us, it could be depression. Honestly, could be a seasonal thing. Okay, it could be a seasonal. I'm depressed. The only way I get my ups or the only way I deal with this stuff is through opiates. So you come back to the root problem. You know, the addiction is the symptom, right, of underlying issue, a lot of people believe. And if we search this underlying issue and find what the cause is, it may be able to jumpstart that person to think differently or to create some hope. Again, you have to be careful with that, because if you kind of dig stuff up, you have to have the team or the support or the resources in place to help that, whatever it may be. So I think, but a lot of that really comes down to just kind of like figuring out where did it start? You know, where does it start? Where am I willing to really talk about this issue and learn about it? Like, it's one cool thing to say, oh wow, okay, cool, but then never do nothing about it. Like, how do you get your biceps bigger? Oh, you lift, you do curls. Oh, cool, but never do. You always want big biceps, but you never put in the work to put in big biceps, even though all these people told you this is how you put in big biceps, right? Or this is how you put in big biceps. This is how you create big biceps, right? And that's kind of like how it is. If you hear my kids in the background, they're brothers and they're fighting and squabbling, as brothers do. And again, yeah. Anyways, but anyway, so that's kind of the thing is like we have all these resources and we're not utilizing them to full effect because we're okay with just being okay. We're just okay with the situation we're in, but we're not wanting to thrive. We're just surviving, kind of a thing. Let me see. Thank you, Benita, for sharing that. My thing too. That was just an example. I wasn't really telling you how to do it. That's just an example of how stuff. But in my opinion, just in my opinion, I would reach out for networking resources and develop a plan or some goals, and kind of work towards that and learn about learned helplessness, learn about all these things. And I'm sure you have. I don't know your situation, the trauma that you're going through, but those are some things that I would probably do and work hard at. For myself, I don't know, but I would reach out and continue to ask questions and learn. Michelle says, for me, it has been coming to a realization of what I have survived. I have 3 days of my drinking and 2 in sobriety. That where days I thought I couldn't go on, and now on those days where I feel I can't go on, I ask myself, I feel as bad as those days, and if not, I have to get up. I'm still here. Never thought I would make it to 50. Coming on 51. Awesome. Woo! Keep sharing all the knowledge, especially the getting up, and keep going. Thank you. No, Michelle. If all you could do is everybody send her some virtual love and virtual good job, keep it up. Yes, keep up. Every day is every day everybody has challenges. Every day somebody is going through something, even me, fighting, patience, and that's one of the hardest things I fight over is just being patient and being within. That's kind of something I wake up challenging, but I know every day if I work at it, it's incrementally going to get better. And do I have the patience to hopefully one day feel like, wow, there it is, That's that hope, right? As long as I keep working, my weight, exactly, same. Do I have the patience while I'm putting in all this work every day or every other day or whatever? Do I have the patience to see the results, to benefit the results, And I think I do. I've been doing it for, I think, since 2016-ish, And I don't know. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But I'm going to try to take it day by day kind of thing. I'm not going to get into that situation where I say I can't or I won't or I don't want help. I've been in that situation where I've kind of said, nothing's going right for me. I'm losing things. But sometimes I put a spin on it to be optimistic. Maybe I'm losing things for greater things and more positive things to replace it. And am I open to the positivity of things coming into my life? Or am I going to self-sabotage because I have this learned helplessness trait, maybe possibly, to say, no, things are going too good for me. I have to do something to ruin it. Like self-sabotaging this feeling of goodness going on in our life. So I don't know. That was a blab, okay? We have to learn to let go and accept things that change. Yes. Thanks, St. George's Smith, Annie Robert. Sandy Dave of the CTUIR area from our father from Yakima Nation site. It is heartbreaking when we have our own loved ones giving up, not listening to suggestions to help with in areas we also battled and overcome. Creator's mercy and grace here. Yes, and again, same thing, right? Our hands are out there and we're reaching and we're giving them things and we're giving them resources, and there's something that out of our control as the helpers, that we can only do so much. And then how much emotional attachment are we going to place within that situation to be hurt, to be traumatized, all these things Or do we disconnect from that saying, okay, I've done my part. I've reached out. I've given the resources. I love you, but I have to go now. But no, if you need me and your hand comes reaching out to me, I'm going to grab it. But I've reached out enough times for you to grab my hand. You're not grabbing it. So I have to pull back and I have to take care of my own thing and these other people that are willing to grab my hand. But know that I'm not giving up on you. But when you are ready, I am here for you. And then there's got to be that disconnect, because if we get emotionally invested, we get emotionally and spiritually invested, we get all this investment into this person, and then they burn us, and they hurt us, and they traumatize us, then I think in some sense, we become that learned helpless. Like, there's nothing I can do. You're going to do whatever you want to do, so whatever. You know, and vulgar, hurt, blame, all this stuff comes out, shooting out. Like, I don't know. That's just an example again. Sometimes I just feel like we sometimes have to leave our hand out. There it is. Okay, you're not grabbing it. I'll meet you down the river. And I hope you're still there, and I'm still going to try again. But let me know when you're ready. And if you need me to grab your hand and you're reaching out, let me know. I'm there for you. I don't know. Example. That's an example, okay? Stephen Bartlett said, using medicine in the land requires safe access. From Mohawk Territory in New York through Mohawken, in Wampanoag, Nauset, Massachusetts. I'm so sorry if I say these words wrong. It is hard to get access to traditional paths on the land, especially with COVID restrictions on travel. Very much so. Count on how many times I've been scared off while trying to gather cedar even before COVID by self-appointed people policing space yet ignorant. Okay. I'm just gonna so we have sweet pine on our res, just very little. We have bare root, just very little. This is just an example, Stefan. I'm not saying anything, and I know you're trying, and I know you're trying to get access to all this. But again, like, I think when one door closes, another one opens somewhere around you, or, you know, I don't know. This is just, okay. If I really want a bare root, and I can't find any on my res, I would go looking at another place, because I know they probably have it, because I know in my area they probably don't only have it there. I know they have it somewhere else that I probably can get it, and it's attainable, and it's there that I can get it without somebody telling me no. I don't know. Example. So maybe we just need to look further out beyond that resource, and there's probably another greater resource, and you'll probably find something within that greater resource. Because sometimes if we keep focusing on something that's not working, then we just give up. When we understand, it's like we're just focused on this and we're not focused on everything else. You know, we're just focused on the road, and there's 3 other roads to the sides of us and behind us that we can adventure to. Example. Just an example. Tashina says, YouTube that stuff. Mohawk Trail is a natural, not a road. Oh, Mohawk Trail is natural, not a road. Oh, okay. Lisa Horn, codependency. Another one. Okay. As Algonquin medicine woman, I deal with trauma. Thank you for sharing that. That yes, you deal with trauma. And I think all of us in some odd way deal with trauma. But a few of us maybe only work towards to getting rid of the trauma, if that makes sense. Some of us will succumb to it and say, no matter what happens, again, the learned helplessness, I'm just going to get it anyways. It's going to happen to me anyways. I can't get past this. There's nothing anybody I can do to resolve this. It's always going to be this way. So there's people like that. But then there's other people like, you know what? I found some trauma in my life, whether it be spiritual, mental, emotional, physically, socially, and I'm willing to put in the work to get rid of some of this trauma or all of the trauma, or to understand the trauma, then get rid of it, or whatever it may be, to heal. You should just heal. Well, how do you heal? You got to put some Neosporin on it. You got to clean an infected wound. You got to take care of it. You got to give it love. You got to look after it. You got to nurture it. Look, all these things, for it to heal. I think in some odd way, those are the same steps that we ourselves have to do, but we have to understand the steps and processes on how to get past or into or understanding learned helplessness. Okay? Usually starts at a young age. Yes. Hello from Elmo. Hello, Francis. I am not going to try to say that last name, George. I feel like a lot of unknowns stem from adverse childhood experiences or even cycles of biological cell memories passed on historical trauma. Learning about trauma and the brain brings out a lot of understanding brings a lot of understanding to the unknowns. Then we are able to break those negative coping patterns passed on. Thank you so much, George. Sipibiminiaki, George. The anger is in the culture. David McLeod said. Maya Mamade said, keep it up. Francis Old said, easy does it. Okay. Benita Moore, my father sent a Seneca Nation from, she's just sharing. Nina Renshaw, the slower you put off the weight, the longer it stays off. The slower you put off the weight, the longer it stays off. Thank you, Nina. Francis Old, Benita, we are thinking unleash boundaries as helper. Yes, so true, Alicia. Thank you so much. Look at this. You just look at this. There is post-traumatic growth. Keep asking good questions. There's a thing called science of kindness, seeing that person well. There's just so many things here that so many of us can, kind of go off of each other. And there's so much wealth of knowledge out there that so many of us have. And a lot of us don't utilize each other or with each other. You know what I mean? We just kind of try to do it ourselves. No one will understand. I'll just have to do it myself. I'll just do it myself then. And even within that, the person that's trying to help learns helplessness. Oh, okay, you're gonna do it for me? Then fine, go ahead and do it for me. Then I'm not gonna learn how to do anything myself. Kind of an example, okay? The checklist, before I leave you guys, and wow, this is a good topic because it went by so fast, right? Learned helplessness is something that I think a lot of us and you listening have to go research because there's more to it than what I just presented. Maybe some of you guys haven't really understood it, or maybe you guys never been asked the question, are you that person that has learned helplessness? Have you even thought about it? Have you even discussed it with your family members or your spouse or your children? Have you discussed that topic? Not what they're doing. That's not what I'm trying to say is like you are this or you are that. I'm not trying to get to that point. What I'm trying to say is, have you just discussed the topic of learned helplessness? To be aware of it. Not to start pointing out what they or you or anybody else do, but just kind of pointing it out like, let's talk about this. I was listening to Native Wellness Institute Power Hour, and they discussed this thing called learned helplessness. And maybe you did know about it, maybe you didn't know about it, but I think with family members, we have to discuss more. With councilmen, we have to discuss more because their people are learning in that cycle, and we're all sometimes so many, and I'm not judging our council members, our leaders, but I don't think they understand the emotional aspect, mental aspect of learned helplessness that their people are going through, and that's a whole nother can of worms. But I think as a discussion for their council, they should have mental wellness day consults where they learn about what's going on with their people mentally, not just financially, not with just housing, but mentally and emotionally, what's going on with our people. And I don't know what kind of steps. I don't live in their trauma. I don't live in their communities. I don't live within that. But what can they do? What can they start implementing? But I think the biggest thing is just start discussing it. That's my thing. Like, just start talking about it. Start learning about it. It's so important. It brings a name to something that you're going through that creates some type of understanding so that you can research it more to get more resources and tools to deal with something that you didn't understand before. Again, getting those steps in place so that you can jump, so that you have that confidence to jump, as we talked about in the beginning. Always going through the checklist, always going through the you know, the wellness checklist that I always say every power hour. I usually say I go through my checklist, and again, with learned helplessness, am I working on these areas, because each area has a learned helplessness component to it. Spirituality, have I been burned by boarding schools? Have I been burned by the Catholic or Christian? Have I been burned by my, like, not, okay, no pun intended, have I been burned by my sweats? But I mean, what I mean by that is, have you been scolded out in sweats? You know, have you created this taste for your own traditional ceremonial ways because of something else, of something, you know, and so you've learned this helplessness of something. Have you been trying to work at that to overcome that? And that can go with, you know, the westernized views, Buddhism, it doesn't matter. Spirituality. Are you working at in terms of learned helplessness, in terms of the mental, emotional aspects? You know, I'm always going to just feel, when I'm mad, or when I'm sad, I'm going to act mad to give my family members and keep them on their toes, and I'm not going to learn anything about my own trauma of what keeps me sad and why I react mad. Are you learning about that? Emotionally, mentally, are you understanding about things in life, you know? Or are you just kind of being okay with just being okay? I don't know. That's something you have to ask, going through the checklist. Socially, that could be your job, that could be your friends, you know? Are you family? Could be learned helplessness within that. I know someone's talking about that addiction stuff. Are you guys willing to learn about it? Are you guys willing to sit down and talk about stuff like that? Are you guys willing to put in the work about learned helplessness as a family, or as friends, or as a community? Something to think about. Physically, I talked about my weight. I talked about not being able to eat as efficient or as good as I should eat, right? Am I going to say, no matter what I do in life, no matter what I eat, no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to lose weight? Or am I going to say, you know what, that didn't work for me, I'm going to try this. Okay, that didn't work for me, let me put a combination of these two, maybe that'll work for me. And keep working and playing with it until you find that something where you're not starving yourself, where you're not depleting yourself of nutrients, where it's something that's going to work for you. But just because something doesn't work for one person doesn't mean it's not going to work for you, or it will work for you, or whatever. Okay, that's an example. Or do I give up? Okay, that's an example. Okay. So learned helplessness. Go out there, learn about it. This is a good talk about everything we've talked about already. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and allowing us to have that space and that time to share with you. Again, from my personal standpoint, I don't know anything. These are things that I've learned through my own life. These are things that I've learned from conversations with other people. I've learned in books or YouTube or Google or whatever it may have been, or the land, you know, I don't know. It's just things I've learned. And it's going into my head. And all this knowledge or wisdom or understanding or lack of understanding or confusion or whatever it may be is not for me to keep in my head. I feel it's for me to share. It's medicine. For you to take, us to take, you give me, I give you, good medicine, good trade, that way. Okay? Native Wellness wants to say, Kasey is a regular presenter on the Power Hours. Oh, thanks, Native Wellness Institute. All Power Hours are saved on NWI's YouTube channel, so make sure you guys go check out the YouTube channel. Thank you, Sippy Miniaki, George. Go share this knowledge with your people. Go conversate, go talk, go communicate, go research about what it is that you might be going through with learned helplessness. I wish you the best. I love you guys. Be good to one another. Love one another. Help one another. Ninana wasnalkek atnahaben. We'll see you guys later. Take care, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. See you guys later. Mm-hmm.